Welcome back, dough heads, for the review of episode 2 of the Great British Baking Show. It's Biscuit Week, aka Cookie Week for those of us here in the US, and this is one of Paul's favorite weeks, so we know it's going to be a good one. Don't miss this video as we're going to hit the highlights. The judges ate 66 mouthfuls of biscuits. I don't know how they do it. There was a biscuit in the showstopper that really resembled a certain part of the male anatomy. I don't think that was intentional. What Prue called perfection in the technical challenge, and Paul gives out his first handshake of the season. And totally on par with the Great British Baking Show, one of the most heartwarming moments I've seen yet. We've got 11 bakers left. Last week we said bye to Hassan, unfortunately, and Natalia, one-star baker. The signature challenge was to make 12 slice and bake biscuits. So basically making the cookie dough into a log or a roll, slicing it, and then baking it. Kind of like those log things that you can just get from the store and slice them and bake cookies, but a lot more complicated because it's not just a regular piece of dough. They actually have to make some kind of design to where it's sliced into. There's like a picture or something inside the biscuit. Actually super complicated. And they only had 2 hours for this challenge. It was actually cracking me up when the judges were talking about this challenge. They don't just want a simple design inside, which honestly, a simple design would still be really hard. Like I would probably just do a basic smiley face, and I don't even think it would be a good one. But they wanted something super complex and really creative. In order to create their picture or their design, they have to use a lot of different colors. And when you color the dough, it makes it hard to see if it's baked because you can't judge like how brown it is. The judges always talk about a nice snap with biscuits. So they want a nice snap, but not too much of a snap, but they don't want it underbaked or soft either. They want a complex design, but not too complex because then you won't be able to see what it is. The bakers are busting out rulers to measure things and like cutting their dough at specific angles. And they have all of these different elements going on. They're just so creative. And it blows my mind because these are home bakers. They're not trained pastry chefs. We've got people making orange slices and mosques and boats. Like it's crazy. A couple of the bakers, when it came to slice their cookie log, they actually use dental floss, which again, I'm a dental hygienist, so I love this. Just make sure that you don't use something that's flavored because that would be gross. But it really helps. I've actually used this when I've made cinnamon rolls before, and it makes it so that you don't like squish what you're cutting into, and it gives you a nice clean edge. Hopefully they're also flossing their teeth with it. Overall, with this challenge, most of them underbaked their cookies. They really like Jasmine's boats. They came out so well. The design was so good. Tom created a mosque, which came out really good. He used some Turkish spices and it was filled with a lemon filling. Toby, unfortunately, didn't do great. He meant to create a dog, and I love that a lot of his designs are based off of his dog, but it actually came out looking more like a cat. Hui Man's design didn't really come out, and she used ginger, and apparently it was like way too much ginger. What was funny to me was Paul's comment to Nadia. She made these little avocado, I thought they were cute, little avocado biscuits, and she used matcha as her flavoring. Paul historically has not been a fan of matcha, but he actually wanted her to put more in it because he didn't taste enough of it. All right, on to the technical challenge. This week is something called a chocolate hobnob. I had to look this up. It's a British thing, apparently. It's an oaty biscuit base that's usually covered with milk chocolate. This was Prue's challenge, and she also wanted them to put a layer of caramel on there just to make it a bit more complicated. And then they're supposed to do this decorative feathering on the top of it. Remember in series 13 with Shabira, she was so good. She actually won that series, but there was a challenge in her series too, where they were supposed to do some kind of feathering on something. I can't remember what, but she didn't know what that was. And so she created an actual feather and put it on the top. It was pretty funny. As with all of the technical challenges, this recipe was really pared down. Apparently the first 2 steps was make 12 biscuits and then bake. That was it. But at least this wasn't a taste and bake like it was last time. Something Prue said with that oaty base is you have to cut it first once you make it and then bake it because they're so crumbly. It's like impossible to do that once they're baked. Of course, that wasn't on the recipe, and some did that and some didn't. And we kind of see how that turned out for them. When they tried cutting it after it was baked, did not work. Then they have to make the caramel. Caramel. Have you tried making caramel? I've tried it twice, and when they say that it goes from being okay to burnt in the span of a few seconds, literally that does happen. And that happened to me both times. But honestly, I think it was the pot because I've learned that you're supposed to use a really thick-walled, heavy-bottom pot, and I didn't use that in either time that I tried. So I think it was the pot. It wasn't me, it was the pot. There were some bakers that really struggled with the caramel, especially Puiman. Some of them put way too much caramel on, especially Erin, which is actually funny because I noticed Erin is in braces and you definitely don't want to bite into something super thick like caramel with braces. It is such a pain to have a bracket pop off or a wire start poking you, like it's not worth it. But his was super thick. I actually wonder if anyone has lost any kind of dental like crown or filling or something with some of these challenges. Over time, I've seen Prue and Paul really have to like get in there when they're biting on something that's super thick like caramel. I just hope their teeth are okay. Puiman really struggled with the tech. Hers did not come out good, and she didn't do great in the signature either. The judges said she was really going to have to kill it in the showstopper in order to save herself. Ian and Tom did really good in the signature, kind of middling in the tech. And Nadia actually got second in the tech, but didn't do so great in the signature. And then Toby won the tech again, but didn't do great in the signature. However, Prue said that he made the perfect hobnob in the technical. She even said it looked like a machine had made it. So since he's won both technicals so far, he has the nickname Techie Toby. But with kind of the flip-flop that people have done, there's not really a clear front runner going into the showstopper. Although Jasmine did really good in the signature and actually got fourth in the tech. And the judges going into the showstopper say it's between her and Tom as far as Star Baker, as long as they both do good in the showstopper. But you never know what's going to happen. The showstopper challenge, they had to build a biscuit time capsule with at least 5 different elements on the inside of that. So it's basically like a biscuit memory box kind of thing. Building something like this is tricky because you not only have to bake things that taste amazing, but you have to make sure there's some engineering that goes into it to make sure everything fits together and doesn't fall apart. A long time ago, I don't even think I was 20 yet. I tried to make a chocolate box and I don't think I could even make it now. And I have a little bit more experience now with baking, but back then, definitely not. I ended up using literal super glue, trying to glue these pieces together to make the box stand up. It was so hard. And no, I don't have a picture of that. Probably a good thing. So to make sure this is stable and doesn't fall apart, I would think that they would want to use something really strong, like a gingerbread type of biscuit. But I always wonder how they choose what they're going to use, because sometimes they use something really soft, like a sugar cookie, which tastes delicious, but maybe not so great structurally. Flashback to Amanda's sugar cookie rocking horse back in season 12. Of course, the judges are asking for the moon. They want it to hold up. They want it to be stable. They want it to be highly decorative and creative. They want to be surprised, and they want it to taste amazing. Prue even said, "It's not too much to ask, right?" Maybe, Prue. Maybe. And it's hot in the tent. Again, many of them chose to use gingerbread, which is good, and some of them not. Like Toby chose to use an orange chocolate biscuit, and Aaron, who really needs to do well because he hasn't done great so far, decided to use a yuzu sugar cookie biscuit. And of course, we've got some serious mishaps that happen. Natalia's biscuit, remember she's the one who won Star Baker last week. Hers was so soft it literally started sinking in. And Aaron tried to make a curved gingerbread bridge that fell apart. He tried gluing it back together, but in one of Nadia's soft biscuits that I think she was using for the side of the box, just broke in half. It's crazy because Allison and Noel were asking the bakers as they were baking how long this challenge took them at home. One person said it took an entire day. Someone else said 8 hours. And for this challenge, they had 4 hours. And it was hot. Leighton seemed to wait till the very end because his stuff was just taking forever to cool. So he was really rushing it at the end. And Aaron at the end too, just throwing stuff together. I loved when Puiman basically told Noel to get lost because he was hovering over her as she's like gluing her stuff together, super critical moment. And he's telling her she needs to concentrate. And she's like, "Yeah, I do. So like go away." Do you remember in a previous season where Noel knocked over Nellie's like pot of caramel in the middle of a challenge? Because he was like spazzing out doing something. She totally kept her cool and was able to make more no problem. But I just wonder, like, would they have given her extra time? Maybe they need to chill out just a little bit during these challenges. All right, on to the judging for the showstopper. Jessica did really good with her flavorings and decor, and she even made this interactive little like selfie puppet. It did work, although Paul, with his huge hands, ended up breaking it. Leighton's gingerbread was really good. The inside elements, and it really just wasn't as polished as I think he wanted it to be. Jasmine made this super intricate picnic box, which looked amazing, and she made all of these really decorative sugar cookies on the inside, and it turned out really good. Paul said she had the perfect ginger biscuit, and he also said her elements were baked to perfection. So 2 perfects for Jasmine from Paul. And Prue said, it's a blinder. Poor Natalia's roof, or the top part of her box, was literally caving in as she said it in front of the judges. Everything tasted good, but of course the structure was not great. Nadia's actually turned out really good, and she used a sugar cookie and it was not falling apart. So maybe you just have to make it thicker. Toby's box looked really good, but it was super dry and didn't taste good. Unfortunately, Paul gave him probably the worst thing that Paul can say, which is style over substance. You never want to hear that. Aaron's did not turn out very good. He had struggles the whole time. I really liked the bright pink colors that he used, but it was really rushed at the end. He wasn't even able to decorate those elements that go inside the box. And one of them, if you hold it a certain way, it looks like a guy's, I don't think that's what he was intending. Puimon's was amazing. And remember, the judges said she was really going to have to pull it out here, and she did. It was a replica of a floating restaurant. It was impeccable, and all of her elements that went inside were really good too. So she smashed it. And then there's Tom. Meticulous Tom. Prue said his was faultless. Paul used words like exceptional and untouchable. And here comes the handshake. First handshake of the season goes to Tom on the showstopper, which does not happen very often. But here's why I love these bakers. Tom got the handshake and Star Baker this week, and his comment was, yes, I'm glad that I got those, but he was more excited that Puimon got such good feedback because she was not having a great time. So sweet. Leighton was the one who ended up going home this week, unfortunately. He didn't do good in the showstopper, and he didn't do great in the SIG or the technical either. And just considering some of the showstoppers that people came up with today, that's why he went home. Such a fun episode, and I'm always amazed at what these bakers can come up with. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will see you after episode 3.